Today I want to have a talk about Autism What Next. It's a website that's recently been launched to assist families who are going through an autism diagnosis, have received an autism diagnosis, but also for adults who receive an autism diagnosis. Now, it might seem strange as something that is as prevalent as autism that a resource like this has not existed in the past. Families and adults, when they were diagnosed, were very much left to their own devices, all too often falling into the trap of Dr. Google, where we all are aware on the web there is a lot of misinformation and pseudoscience that would confuse parents and would place them in danger of perhaps looking at therapy options that are not evidence-based, that are not based in science, and will end up having detrimental or at best no effect whatsoever. So this website, Autism What Next, has been made possible by an ILC grant funded by DSS to Autism Awareness Australia. Autism Awareness Australia is a parent-run organisation that has well over 15 years' experience around autism, and it is reflected in the quality of this website and the advice that is available for parents to help them navigate at what can be an incredibly tricky and devastating time for families. So the website itself, though, is important to remember, is put together by either autistic people themselves or families of a child with autism. This is real lived experience, and it's backed up by clinicians and therapists who provide evidence-based therapy for these families, as also for adults who are diagnosed later in life. And the guide to best practice therapies is where it's really important that we see children begin a pathway as soon as possible with evidence-based therapies. It's those evidence-based therapies that are going to give the best outcome for that child and that family in the long run. And it provides information for families that emphasises the importance that it's never too early to start, and that there should be therapies that are effective and intensive. And the sooner you can get onto those, the better. But including the information in there is also helping parents understand that therapy is not just to be conducted in a clinic setting. It's not enough to go to a speech therapist, sit across a desk, have a session, and move on. These therapies need to be conducted across a range of environments, and this allows the child to generalise those skills that they're learning so they can use them at the home, they can use them at preschool or school, and that they can start to generalise and move more into the community. We know for children that the best therapy types will ensure that that child's communication skills are developed, but also that they're play-based, that the child starts to understand the importance of turn-taking and playing games. For neurotypical children, these skills come very, very easily. Children move from parallel playing next to each other to engaging with each other. A lot of children with autism need to be taught this skill. It doesn't come innately to them to learn how to turn-take, and probably something that could be taken as a lesson in this place sometimes. Turn-taking is a very big part of conversations. You wait for the other person to stop speaking before you start your own conversation and start saying what you want to say. So it is important that we start looking at these things through a play-based environment. And, you know, one of the things I think that demonstrates how needed this resource is across Australia is that within the first 3 weeks of it being launched, there were over 7,000 users of this site. And I have no doubt that the awareness of this site as it gets out there will continue to grow, and parents and families will start to utilise more and more of the resources on there. And some of the resources that are on there, including a lovely photo of me with my beautiful Freddo in one of the sections, but there are over 75 videos of people with autism, our parents and carers of a child with autism, to share real life experience, to share what autism means and how parents and how families can be best supported and provide those resources. So it is such a great initiative to see that this website has been rolled out, that families will be able to get access to information when they need it, that the information is in a centralised place, it's been endorsed by clinicians and experts in the field, and hopefully as we move forward, we'll see less and less families being seduced by the charlatans and the snake oil salesmen who far too often operate in this space. They take advantage of families at a time when they are most vulnerable. And this is a free resource, and at no part of it is it trying to sell families anything. There is no direction to particular clinics, there's no direction to particular providers. So families are provided with information. They can use that information to make effective choices, to find good centres around them, and to understand better how they can support their child and put them on a pathway. And it is also, and coming back to autistic adults, it is important that for adults that are diagnosed later in life, and we're seeing this happen more and more as we better understand how autism presents itself, particularly in women, and what it looks like. It is important that adults are receiving that support, and there is a great level of information and support for those diagnosed and what their next steps are, because it's very difficult for sometimes people to understand where do they turn to, what do they look for, and where are those supports available. So it's a fantastic free resource. It's exactly what the ILC grants were set up to do. They're about providing that Tier 2 support. They're about providing information to the community. And Autism What's Next is absolutely one of the best resources to do this that I've ever seen, but we are very lucky to have it here centred in Australia, supporting Australian families and how we can continue to support them through that journey. Obviously, this is still based around diagnosis and the early stages. I sincerely hope that we get to a stage where we have future resources that help parents through the different stages of autism. And a particular shout out to Nicole Rogerson, who is the CEO of Autism Awareness Australia, who does an outstanding job for this community. And honestly, I can say without Nicole and her clinic, the Lizard Centre, my family would not be in the position it is today, which is Fredo going off to his high school induction day yesterday. He had a great day. I'm not sure Mum is coping as well as Fredo, but from all reports he had a great day. The cafeteria was the highlight, and as only Fredo could pull. He met a classmate who has a PlayStation, which was a good thing, but also found out he had a pet blue-tongue lizard, of which Fred decided that was a hard no on becoming possible friends. So if anyone can work out some of these things, hopefully when Autism Awareness start to do some more work for the next stages, for those of us parents that are now looking to tackle all the joyous things that we do for all our children, including puberty, when you put that with an autism frame on it, it certainly makes for a very interesting family life. Also on the website, though, there is information there provided by Andrew Whitehouse. And Andrew is a leading expert in autism, recognised globally. He has recently released a study which I think has significant impacts for the autism community, that gut health does not cause autism. We do know kids with autism can be very picky eaters, and that can create problems for them when it comes to their gut health and gut bacteria. But what we do know is that that does not cause autism. And it's not a linkage that we need to keep providing funding and supports that, again, some of this pseudoscience that's been around, that if you fix the gut health, you fix the autism, that's absolutely ridiculous, and something that hopefully we can start to see the end of those claims being made. Some of the therapies around there are just, quite frankly, dangerous, and it's good to see that this very strong research has been done to assist families and make sure that those pseudosciences aren't supported and that children aren't being subjected to these horrific kinds of therapy. But, again, just to take the opportunity in the last minute to say thank you to Ryan Norn, who started working with us when he was at the Lizard Centre and is still with us 10 years later. He has been Fred's shadow at school, and he is now working with him to teach daily living skills. If I'd have had a resource at the beginning of our autism journey that could have mapped out a pathway for me, it would have been just such a relief, because you really don't know where to go, and more importantly, you don't know what the future holds. And our kids can achieve so much. He cooked dinner last night after peeling potatoes begrudgingly. These are skills that are important to learn, that they're taught in the right way, and it's without the intensive early intervention that we received, we would never be where we are at the moment.